I'm Latricia Jackson.
And I'm Fynniecko Glover Jr. And today's event is called Brunch and Ballots, sponsored by King County Equity Now. Today's event, we're here to educate our community members on different things that's happening in the city. Right now, we have elections that's coming up for the 2025 year. We want to make sure that everybody is an informed voter. So today, we're bringing this opportunity to hear directly from the candidates on different policies that they want to push forward to make sure that we have a voice and being heard here in Seattle and King County.
We want to thank all of our sponsors and, of course, you, the viewer, for coming. Hope you enjoy.
Executive. Okay. Claudia Balducci, everybody.
Jessica.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, first off, how are you doing today? Running around from one place to another. Very happy to be able to sit here and hear for a while. It's good to hear. And, can you give us a little introduction of who you are, what you've done, what you want to do? Yes, sir.
Excuse me, if you guys are transitioning out, can we kind of keep the volume down or try to keep going with our show? That's all to you.
Thank you so much. My name is Claudia Balducci. I'm a King County council member. I represent East King County, which my district is about 2/3 of Bellevue, Kirkland, Redmond, Mercer, and Points communities. I'm a former elected official in Bellevue, former city council member, former mayor of Bellevue. I have worked for King County for a very long time. Before becoming elected as a county council member, I worked in labor relations. I started at the ground level. I worked to run one of the county's departments. In fact, I ran the Department of Adult and Juvenile Detention, so I spent a lot of time just that way at the 12th and Alder facility. And I am a labor attorney by training. I'm a mom of a kid who just started at Bellevue College. And I think when people hear all about Bellevue, they probably assume I'm a wealthy person. I am not a wealthy person. I come from a family of public servants. My mom is a retired elementary school teacher. My stepfather, before he passed, was a retired court officer. And my one and only sibling, my brother, is a retired firefighter. I'm the only member of my family who has failed to retire. But I'm still wanting to work for King County. I want to make this a county that is accessible and fair and equitable and works for everyone. So what does that mean? First of all, it means that we need to have enough housing for people to be able to afford to live, to own a home, and to stay where they want to be. That is not something we're succeeding at currently, although it's something that we have been working at for a long time as executive. I will make it a top priority. I believe that we need to complete our transportation network, and that is something I have been fighting for a very long time, to finish the light rail and the buses and make sure that everybody has a way to get around. And I'm very focused on public safety. As a former public safety official myself, I think on the campaign trail we talk about a spectrum. It is truly a full spectrum. I believe we need to have fair, well-trained law enforcement that is there when people need them, that is there when the small businesses need them to be there, and understand that we will never ever arrest our way to a healthy community. We have to invest in young people. We have to invest in communities. We have to make sure there's education and jobs and all of the things that people need to succeed so that we have less crisis on the streets that we see around here in lots of places, too many places in this country. And then the last thing I will say is, these are the topics that you'll hear most of the elected officials and candidates talk about on the campaign trail: housing, transportation, public safety. When we started this campaign a year ago, we were not talking about the Trump administration, and now we have to talk about that because the things we need, the funding, the policies, the programs we need to attack our problems are all under attack. They are pulling back funding, they are pulling back support and threatening us if we don't agree to change our values and change our priorities. So as county executive, I would want to continue to fight for our priorities and work on all of those issues that I talked about. And I look forward to answering questions here today. Wonderful. Okay, I'll start us off. Do you explicitly support reparations for descendants of child slavery over their decades of anti-Black policies in King County? And if so, what mechanisms would you support to fund and implement these reparations?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I do. And we have a request directly in my office from King County Equity Now, to fund, I believe it's $300,000 in our current budget to take the next step to identify where reparations should rightly go. And I am absolutely supportive of advocating to include that funding in our budget to take that next step.
Awesome. Okay. County data often has disparities by family to disaggregate lotteries. How would you ensure that county data systems specifically track outcomes for Black residents and specifically African Americans to hold departments accountable for it?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I am smiling not because, I'm smiling not because I'm not taking it seriously, but because data and King County are a very difficult match. We really struggle to have computer systems that do what we need them to do. And many of you who have watched King County closely over the years, you may recall famously, before I was on the council, we spent over $8 million on a financial system that never launched. Just wasted money, didn't go anywhere. So absolutely, we need to understand what's happening. We're investing money. I had a mentor who said to me once, as a very bitter joke, you know we care because we spend. Well, that's not right, of course, right? Like the money we spend should be making results for the communities that we are trying to support, and we can only know that if we have to do that. So it is very important to me that we do everything we can to disaggregate, as you said, in the way you stated about the Black community, but also the Asian community we hear this from. There are wildly different outcomes of the Asian community depending on whether you're talking about Asian Pacific Islanders or people from East Asia and South Asia. So we absolutely need to get it right. I have been in a position to successfully implement reforms that included better data and reporting, and I know how to do it, but I'm not going to promise it's easy. I promise it's something I will work very hard on.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay. Black young adults are priced out of housing countywide. How will you leverage county resources to create affordable housing accessible for Black residents, especially and particularly given the number of vacant units within counties?
Well, so that is a very big question, and I apologize, I'm going to probably not do it full justice, but I'll give you what I can in the time we have. This has got to be the top priority. Housing and housing affordability has got to be the top priority at the next executive. When I arrived at King County as an elected official, I was told, we don't really do housing. When I arrived at the Puget Sound Regional Council as the president of that 4-county collaboration that exists to plan, they didn't do housing. Sound Transit, likewise, doesn't do housing. They've got a little bit more of an excuse, they're a transit agency. But everywhere I have gone, I have pushed the agencies to quote unquote do housing. We have to do it. We have to create more supply. There's not enough, and there's places to put it. Right next to Light Rail, when Sound Transit's done building a station, we have a big flat, undeveloped piece of land that we're done with. We should surplus those for free or for very cheap and allow them to become affordable housing. We're doing some of that now. We need to do more. Supply also means working with the cities to make sure that in our plans and in our zoning codes, we're not prohibiting housing in places that badly need it. We have to do it. And third, partnerships. We've had some really wonderful partnerships with various community groups, the Filipino community and some others, who have built housing specifically for people to be able to afford in their communities. I would love to work on a partnership with the Black community to do something similar, specifically in the neighborhoods that have been historically, people of color or African American, and help people to stay where they want to, and especially young people using that.
Awesome, thank you for that answer. Black communities should control resources intended to serve the community. How will you ensure Black-led organizations receive direct funding and decision-making authority over programs impacting our community?
Did you say the first part of that? Yeah, I missed the first
Yes.
part.
Black communities should have control of the resources intended to serve our communities. How do you ensure Black-led organizations receive direct funding and decision-making authority over programs that are impacting our community?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. I think there's a number of ways to do this, and it starts, pretty simply. Obviously, if I elect the county executive, I'm going to be the first county executive that comes from outside of Seattle. I am not a Seattleite, although I've worked here for a long time, and I've worked in I'm aware of Seattle issues. I am going to need help. I'm going to need somebody right in the executive office, possibly at the deputy county executive level. That makes sense to me, sort of number two, who is responsible and from the community, who is going to help to make sure that we are creating the relationships and the direct communication paths that we should. And we have done a little bit of a pilot with what's called participatory budgeting. This is not a new idea. We've done it in Bellevue too, where we basically say to the community, this chunk of funding, it's human services funding, it has to be used for something in the human services zone, but the community decides. We pull together a group of people who are dedicated, who come regularly. It's not just an open meeting with dots on a chart. It's people who come and advise us, and they say, we want to invest in our community thusly. The places we've done this, the investments have been really impressive and very much rooted in the community. Youth programs or educational programs, sometimes, like parks and recreation, but whatever that community needs, they should be able to have some funding that they can direct, because the people closest to the community know what it is.
Thank you.
For sure. Gun violence continues to devastate Black families across the county. What specific prevention, intervention, and healing resources will you direct Black families affected by gun violence?
We've been talking so much about gun violence on the campaign trail, and the county has really started through the county executive's current Office of Gun Violence to invest more in programs that are about violence interruption. There's some really interesting stuff that happens at Harborview because, learning that somebody who has been shot can be at risk of becoming part of a cycle. And so we've got interventions that happen right there with somebody who is being served. But I will say, I'm more than a little bit concerned that the focus that we have isn't actually having the results we want to see. The federal government was leaning in and helping us with some money, but that's not happening anymore. And so I think we need to sort of take a step back, really look at the causes and what's happening with the people that we know are engaged in gun violence, and then go right at those root causes. But I think, again, it involves a community conversation. I've heard from people who say you're not funding the right things. Well, okay, help me then. Help me understand what are the right things, what should we be funding. But it's got to also be a very, very sharp focus early on and then persistently, because having bullets flying in communities and having people being killed is just cause.
Awesome, thank you.
The lightning round?
I can speak up. All right. So thank you. First question, do you support disaggregating data from the Centers of American Chattel Slavery in King County?
Yes.
Do you support reparations for the descendants of chattel slavery that have endured decades of anti-Black policies and practices in King County?
Yes.
Do you support establishing a $1 billion reparative development fund financed by public and private sectors to support affordable housing, business development, and workforce training programs as a means of addressing economic and social impacts of systemic racism and historical trauma?
Yes, can I cheat on the lightning round and just say, but we have to figure out where the money comes from, because our funding is getting cut as we speak. But yes, we should find a way.
Do you support Black community having control over the resources that are supposed to impact our lives?
Yes.
Do you support significantly increasing opportunities for young people to earn money?
100%, yes. And we have jobs. We got jobs. We got to talk about that.
And will you prioritize funding for shovel-ready, community-led affordable housing projects like the K-Road site, Park and here, and affordable homeownership projects in the city?
Very much yes. Those are great questions. Yeah. Usually the lightning that's harder than that.
I think,
That's why this was so easy. It took us so long to get addressed.
you say yes.
We have,
That's right.
tell them.
Some questions
We
from the
have a
audience.
question. Yeah, we have about probably two just because we are trying to catch up in time.
My question is around the governance of our penal system. And I'm curious if you have been at tables or have thought about different ways to not have people returning back, right? And in the past, it showed that having education while they're in there is one way, so they come out productive in a way that is tangible, and two, mental health to be addressed. So I'm curious around your thoughts around those, adding more money to those things happen within our penal system.
Yeah, thank you for that. So within the juvenile detention facility, which is the county's role in that system, we have historically had more funding for education and programs than we have today, and I think we should restore them to the level they were at. However, I also think that it's really important to make sure that we're investing in youth who are at risk but not currently incarcerated, right? So there's about 50 young people per day on average in a juvenile detention facility. Absolutely, they need all the support so that when they leave, they go on a trajectory, they're handed off to systems that will support them and they don't come back. Exactly. But there's so many young people who are at risk who have not yet been incarcerated, and that is an incredible opportunity. Because once you walk in the door, the statistics show that the outcomes get worse and the risks get higher. So I really want to intervene with young people before they are in detention, so that we have them on the path to success and never have to interact with that system again. So both, yes.
Thank you. So my question is, my name is Elijah, so I was gonna say I participated in a participatory budget piece for King County. I've had opportunity to sit on the gathering collaborative to really learn some intricacies around the inside of how the budget works and what's accessible. It's very tedious. So you're saying yes to things and what you support, but the reality of how you're gonna look at it needs to be teased out a little bit more. But what I wanna ask you is, you're a council member with Vermont. And I'm curious, the things that you're talking about, because I'm seeing Vermont as maybe it's because I'm in District 2, maybe because it's a participatory budget, but needs in the community. What are the things that you're highlighting as positive? How have you been working alongside them, and why not him? Why do you feel you're better than him in terms of this? Because, that happens. If ever you come to a Black event, we talk about Black issues, you start talking about what the other communities are doing, I took that as a hit. Because it makes me think that you don't even understand the labor that it takes for us to work so hard for a resource for somebody else to get it. And that's what I heard when we talk about the other groups, what they're getting in, what the other groups are doing. It's no diss to them, no shade to them. They deserve support as well from marginalized. Oftentimes it comes off the back of hard work and advocacy that the Black community does, just for us to not reap any benefits from our hard work.
So I'll try to answer all the questions. Please tell me if I missed something. Yeah, please tell me if I missed something. Starting with Vermont. Vermont and I served on the county council together for a term and a bit. I've been on the county council I'm in my third term. I worked for King County for a very long time. You pointed out it's easy to say yes. I saw that several people. It's easy to say yes, I will. I'm like, but how? How are you going to do it? How can we believe that you're going to get things done? I'm a person who has been in government for 25 years, and I have pushed and gotten very big things done. Not the things we're talking about here today, but other things. I know how to move this big, gnarly, resistant government. I fought and won the battle of light rail in East King County. I have pushed for affordable housing and homeless shelters in my district, right? This is so yes, I'm not right here. So when you said we've seen him in community, I'm just starting to show up to events like this, but it's the beginning, not the end for me, obviously. And to your point about calling out other groups, all I really meant to say was, I've heard about this disaggregation issue from multiple communities, and what it tells me is our failure to disaggregate is harming your community and other communities, and we need to get better. Sorry, thanks.
One more question for you. Thanks for saying you're a fighter. We have message testing that says that King County is the only county in the whole country where there's support for reparations across all racial groups. What are you willing to do to make sure that we have enough votes on the county, the King County Council, to support reparations for Black people?
Well, I've been asked to do a very specific thing in this budget, and I am fully supportive of it. I will sponsor the proposal if nobody else steps up to sponsor it, and I will vote for it if somebody else, and I'll vote for it no matter what, no matter who sponsors it. But that's sort of like the completion of the plan. And then it's like, what do you do to get the plan actually implemented? We're gonna have to find a funding source. So what am I willing to do? I'm willing to work with you all and my colleagues to figure out what that funding source is. It may have to go to the ballot. You may have to ask us voters to support it. Will you actually support with your money? I will support that, and I will fight for that if that's the way we have to go. But that's it. First finish the plan, then we have to fund it.
Thank you. One thing I would just highlight is that county, you may be familiar with that study that Econ Northwest did that said $5 billion was stripped from the Black community due to discriminatory housing practices. So that's a study that's already been done, it's already been quantified. So we should be moving at least in that category of housing around reparative investments, rather than just another study.
The loss of generational wealth is a number that is known. Yeah.
So let's move on. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and that concludes our session. So we're going to take a round of applause for the Claudia Balducci.